This is the Poco F1, a smartphone that's shaking up the Asian market with its crazy $300 price tag and high-end specs. People are calling this phone the true flagship killer. Well, this is the OnePlus 6, a phone that also has high-end specs, but it's accessible worldwide and has a passionate community who truly believes in the product. It's a couple $100 more, but I think it offers a lot more value. The Poco F1 is simple, and it may not sport an all-glass or aluminum design, but its polycarbonate back and slightly thicker build makes this phone super comfortable to hold, and less likely to shatter when dropped. It's a bit thicker than the OnePlus 6, but that means there's more phone to love. Like, honestly, why do manufacturers put glass on their phones, especially when they don't add wireless charging? I agree. Not having wireless charging for a phone that has a glass back is a bit annoying, but I mean, just look how classy this phone looks. I mean, this red, it's absolutely gorgeous. The Poco Loco has a notch the size of the Grand Canyon and a chin that's larger than Jay Leno's. Like, look at the little details, metal buttons, and alert sliders to help mute your conversations in a pinch. These are the things that matter. Relic, please. Let's do a trop test then, smartass. I guarantee that the OnePlus 6 will end up looking like Britney Spears with no makeup on. Let's talk display then. This one is 6.28 inches, AMOLED, has better color accuracy, gets brighter than the Poco F1, and has beautiful deep blacks. I'd rather watch and consume content on this device over the F1. Please. That display is not that much better or bigger. The F1 is 6.18 inches, making it ever so slightly smaller. And you're right, the OnePlus 6 has deep blacks and a brighter screen, but the LCD panel offers better whites and much sharper text since it's not using a pentile matrix. I'll give the OnePlus 6 the lead with the display, but when it comes to sound, the Poco F1 has stereo speakers and a headphone jack, which actually sound pretty great. Performance on this phone is absolutely insane. It's rocking the latest Snapdragon 845 processor, and it comes in 6 or 8 GB RAM variants. But what really makes this phone different is the fact that Xiaomi stuffed a larger heat pipe inside here to keep this phone liquid cooled. I mean, that's something you usually see on gaming phones or on the Galaxy Note 9, which is a $1,000 smartphone. Now, MIUI is pretty clean theme with its own unique character, adding variety compared to phones that use just stock Android. Liquid cooled sounds gimmicky, but the OnePlus 6 has the exact same specs. Well, except a micro SD card slot, but it does have NFC, which means I can pay for stuff using my phone, something that the Poco F1 fails to include. Now, you can hate on stock Android all you want, but let me know when your phone actually gets an update. Oxygen OS is fast, it's clean, and has small little features that are actually useful. Plus, I know OnePlus is gonna update this phone with the next 1 or 2 versions of Android. So I was thinking, you know what's funny? Usually the cheaper the phone, the crappier the camera, but not in this case. The Poco F1 has dual cameras, one 12-megapixel sensor with an aperture of f1.9, and a second one with a 5-megapixel sensor to help with depth information. This allows for things like portrait mode. There's no OIS for video, but EIS does a pretty good job. 12 megapixels, that's it? The OnePlus 6 has a 16 megapixel lens with a higher aperture of f1.7 and a second lens that's 20 megapixel sensor. It too helps with depth information, but also contributes to details in order to provide better shots. Look, we already did an entire camera shootout comparing both phones. The link is below if the viewers want to check it out for themselves. Now, when it comes to battery life, the Poco F1 has a huge 4,000 milliamp battery, which nets me 6 to 7 hours of screen on time. Getting a day to a day and a half of use is never an issue. It doesn't have wireless charging, but it does have quick charging, which means I can top things up nice and fast. Quick charging? Quick charging? That seems like tech my grandmother used. Sure, your phone has a bigger battery, and yes, it gets better battery life, but the OnePlus 6 has dash charging. I mean, warp charging. I mean, really, Amazon, please don't sue me, which is faster than the quick charging, which means less downtime. Here's the bottom line. The Poco F1 has all the hardware, features, and specs that most flagship phones have for a low starting cost of $300. I think it's the best bang for your buck or value for money you can find on a smartphone right now. The best deal, sure, but not the most practical one. It's not widely available, and if you import it to North America, it's not gonna work on all the bands. The OnePlus 6 has a passionate community, great hardware, and all the small refinements more expensive phones have. Sure, it's $200 more than the Pocophone, but offers more value while staying cheaper than most flagship ones. I mean, who calls their phone the Pocophone? That's just ridiculous. Like, come on with better. Pocophone forever, my friends. Best phone for $300, and you know, you're not gonna find a better deal than this. The OnePlus 6 is way more expensive. Why would you want to spend the extra money on a phone that costs $200 more?